welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another baby names video. Okay, so I made a 10 baby names I love but won't be using parts 1 and 2. And as I was like compiling those lists and looking at like my baby list name and my baby names list, I kept coming across these names and like as people were giving me suggestions and stuff, and I came across these names that I think are so trendy and so cool. And I had a few moments where I like would say to Jeff, my husband, because if you guys didn't know, I am currently pregnant. I am 32 weeks, so we are sort of in like the home stretch period. We still haven't picked out a name. We're having a baby boy and we're still like trying to figure out what exactly like is the right name for him. And so I'd come across these names and I'd say to Jeff, like, if we were just a little cooler, then we could, like, this could so work. But we're just not. We're just like not those cool people. And so I wanted to share with you guys some super cool, really trendy baby names, just in case you yourself are super cool and trendy and are looking for a very different, very cool name. I feel like some of these might really work, and they're also super unique too. Like I know if like 1 or 2 have come up as like actual names that I've heard people call their kids, but the rest of them are just names that like either I thought of or like they were on some list somewhere, and so they're out there, but they're just so cool. They're so cool. And if you yourself have named your child any of these names and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not cool, like what is she talking about? I'm here to be the one to tell you that like you are really cool if you have named your kid any of these names. They are so awesome. So anyway, let's jump into the baby names that I think are super cool and trendy, but like that I am just not cool or trendy enough to use. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the boy names, and the first name is Atlas. My husband actually like really loves this name, and when I told him the name and I was like, you know what, this could be a really cool name, we're just like not cool enough to use it. He was like, but why? I love it. And I love it too. You gotta be cool. You have to be super cool and trendy to use the name Atlas. But I really like it. I think that those like A names, especially like I've heard Atticus too mentioned, and I feel like those are making a real comeback, and Atlas just to me is just like a cool, obviously like when I think of Atlas, I think of a globe, I think of a map, and so it just kind of seems like a cool name, like because it's someone who do a lot of traveling or like just be very like worldly. The next baby boy name that I think is so cool is Onyx. Whoa, I think this is a really cool name. So I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think onyx is like a gem or a stone, and I feel like those gem and stone names now are really popular, like ruby, and I feel like onyx is a really cool one for a boy. And obviously like a lot of these names are pretty interchangeable, right? Like none of them are like super gender specific, so if you wanted to name your daughter Onyx, like even more power to you. But yeah, I love it. Any name where you could have an X in it is automatically like a super cool name, right? Like it doesn't matter what it is, if it has an X, that's a pretty cool name. And I think Onyx just takes the cake because not only does it have an X in it, it has a Y and an O. So like you're using all the letters there that are just like super cool. Speaking of the letter X, the next name I have on my list is Phoenix. Phoenix I think is a really unique, cool boy name. And actually one of my friends' friends named her son Phoenix. And yeah, they're just like, I mean, they're cool people. They're super cool people. We're not that cool, so we couldn't name our son Phoenix. But I really like it. I think that obviously like the image of the phoenix like rising from the ashes and just has so much meaning behind it. Just it's a cool different name. It's one, you know, obviously the term phoenix has been around forever, but as like a name I think it's really trendy and super different. The next boy name I have on the list is Rochland. Now I don't know where this name came from. I think I just like thought of it one day and was like, that's really trendy and different and cool. We actually have a Rochland County not too far away from us, and so that's probably where that came from. But I feel like Rochland could be a really cool name if you live in the South and you have a little boy, because I don't know, it sounds like a little Southern to me, Rochland. And you could also nickname him Rock which I think is kind of cool. I don't know, you let me know. But yeah, just like another unique, different choice. And the last boy name I have on this list, again, could be a female name too, is Row, R-O-W. And when I think of Row, I almost like think of it as like a shortened version of something, like maybe like Roland, or if it was a girl, like Rosanna or Rosalinda or something. But I think just like naming your kid Row, R-O-W, is like you are super trendy, right? Like you are super cool. I think it's pretty awesome. And I don't know, I think of like, I think of like Mary-Kate and Ashley. Don't they have a line, like a fashion line called The Row? And so when I think of the name Row, I think of like high fashion and like being super cool, like downtown in Soho or something. And so yeah, that's where that name came from, but I think could be a cool name. All right, let's move on to girl names. The first name I have on the list is actually one that we, for a really long time, were pretty convinced it was gonna be our daughter. Like if we had a daughter, it was gonna be her name. And it's the name January. I love the name January. Now, January is one of those that like, I think we could potentially be cool enough to name our daughter January. It would just like really depend. But I think that it is so stunning. I think it's different too. Like you don't hear a lot of Januaries. Like you might hear some Junes. You might, obviously like April I think is a pretty like common name. My cousin April actually had a son named August, which I think is like the coolest. I mentioned that in one of my baby names I love but won't be using video. And yeah, I think January kind of flies under the radar a little bit, but there are like a few Januaries out there. I think of like January Jones, the actress. I love it. I think it's so cool. The next girl name is Rue, R-U-E. And I love this name. I believe the first time I heard it was probably in the Hunger Games. I think there was a Rue in the Hunger Games. And yeah, I think like this one too could be like, you know, if you don't feel super confident and like you don't think you're the coolest in the world, but you still want like a trendy and unique name, I think Rue is a good one. And I think Rue, like our last name is pretty traditional, like it's Moulton, right? And so it's pretty traditional, pretty straightforward, but I think like Rue could go with Moulton, you know, whereas like a little harder to put like Onyx in front of Moulton, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think Rue is cute. The next little girl name that I think is really cool and super trendy, and that is just like too cool for us to use, is Harlow. I think Harlow is a stunning name. I feel like it's been actually like pretty trendy and pretty popular for a few years now. I think the first time I heard of it was when Nicole Richie named her daughter Harlow, and I feel like that was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I could be wrong. But I think Harlow is such a stunning name. It's beautiful. Like it evokes that like old Hollywood glam, and there's also just something like very like current about it too, and I think that's like the trendy aspect. I think that it is different, unique, and a good one out there if you are looking for exactly that. Okay, the next name is so cute, definitely not cool enough to use it. It's the name Juniper. It is so pretty. I've heard this name actually a few times, and my best friend had said to me that she had heard this name and like people have been naming their little girls Juniper for the past year or so, and it's definitely like spiked in popularity. I think it's so stunning. I think it's really pretty, different, unique, very trendy, like very on trend for 2017, 2018, maybe even 2019. But yeah, we're just definitely not cool enough to have a daughter named Juniper, but it's a beautiful name. And the last name I wanted to share is a name that was on our baby list again. And yeah, just the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, I don't think we're cool enough. It's the name Noah. And I think naming I love like the crossing of the like traditional gender names. So like naming your daughter James or naming your daughter Noah, for instance. I love that. And I think that it's really cute and definitely like adorable. But like I think you have to be cool enough to like be able to pass that, right? Like you have to have a certain like, I don't know, confidence to do that, and I don't think my husband and I have that just yet. I don't know, maybe like we'll have it by the time, I don't know if we ever have a girl. But yeah, I think Noah's really pretty. I love spelling it N-O-A instead of N-O-A-H. I've actually know someone who just gave birth and named their daughter Noah. And so yeah, it's definitely a name that's out there. I think that if you are looking for something a little unique and a little bit different, then No is a great one. Definitely not hard to like pronounce or read or anything, which I think sometimes is important to some people. And so yeah, that's the last little girl name that I think is so adorable, so unique, and so trendy. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this list of cool, trendy baby names. I, again, am not cool or trendy enough to use any of them, but maybe they've helped some of you out there. And if you have any other like cool or different or super unique baby names, definitely leave them down in the comments below, because you guys know like I'm still looking for a baby name. And although like we're definitely not going the like super trendy, unique route, I think that, you know, maybe someone out there is, and you can be the inspiration for them. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will talk to y'all really soon. Bye, guys!